जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य
प्रभु नित्यानंद
प्रभु नित्यानंदा
श्री अद्वैत गदाधर
श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा
श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा
श्रीवासादि गौड़ भक्त वृंदा।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
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 नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
ततो जयमुदीरयेत्
ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्।
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
भगवतीरुत्तम श्लोके
भगवती उत्तम श्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी।
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, Verse 31. विशुद्धया धारणया हता शुभस्
विशुद्धया धारणाया हतु शुभस्
तद्ईक्षयैव सुगतायुधश्रमा
तत्इक्षया वासुगता युद्धश्रमा
निवृत्त सर्वेन्द्रिय वृत्ति विभ्रमस्
निवृत्त सर्वेन्द्रिय वृत्ति विभ्रमस्
तुष्टावजन्यं विसृजन् जनार्दनम्
तुष्ट्वा जन्यं विसर्जन् जनार्दनम्
विशुद्धया धारणया हता शुभस्
विशुद्धया धरानाय हता शुभस्
तद्ईक्षयैव सुगतायुधश्रमा
तदैवासु गता युधश्रमा
निवृत्त सर्वेन्द्रिय वृत्ति विभ्रमस्
निवृत्त सर्वेन्द्रिय वृत्ति विभ्रमस्
तुष्टावजन्यं विसृजन् जनार्दनम्
तुष्ट्वा जन्यं विसृजन् जनार्दनम्
विशुद्धया धारणया हता शुभस्
विशुद्धया धारणया हता शुभस्
तद्ईक्षयायैव वासुगता युधाश्रमा
तदैक्षयैवासु गता युधाश्रमा
निवृत्त सर्वेन्द्रिय वृत्ति विभ्रमस्
निवृत्त सर्वेन्द्रिय वृत्ति विभ्रमस्
तुष्टावजन्यं विसृजन् जनार्दनम्
तुष्टावजन्यं विसृजन् जनार्दनम्।
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace of Charnaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Synonyms: Vishuddhaya, by purified.
Vishuddhaya, by purified.
Dharanaya, meditation.
Dharanaya, meditation.
Hatha Ashubha, one who has minimized the inauspiciousness qualities of material existence.
Hatha Ashubha, one who has minimized the inauspicious qualities of material existence.
Tat, that. Sorry, tat, him.
Tat him.
him.
Ikshaya, by looking on.
Ikshaya, by
Ikshaya,
looking on.
Eva, simply.
Eva, simply.
simply.
Ashu, immediately.
Ashu, immediately.
Immediately.
Gatha, having gone away.
Gata, having gone away.
Having gone away.
Yudha, from the arrows.
Yudha, from the arrows.
Shrama, fatigue.
Shrama, fatigue.
Nivritta, being stopped.
Nivritta, being stopped.
Sarva, all.
Sarva, all.
all.
Indriya, senses.
Indriya, senses.
senses.
Vritti, activities.
Vritti, activities.
Vibhrama, being widely engaged.
Vibhrama, being widely engaged.
Tushtava, he prayed.
Tushtava, he prayed.
He prayed.
Janyam, the material tabernacle.
Janyam, the material tabernacle.
Vishrajan, while quitting.
Visrajan, while quitting.
Janardanam, to the controller of the living beings.
Janardanam, to the controller of the living beings.
Translation, please repeat after me. By pure meditation,
By pure meditation,
looking at Lord Sri Krishna,
looking at Lord Sri Krishna,
he at once was freed from all material inauspiciousness.
He at once was freed from all material inauspiciousness
And was relieved of all bodily pains.
And was relieved of all bodily pains.
Caused by the arrow wounds.
Caused by the arrow wounds.
Thus, all the external activities of his senses at once stopped.
Thus, all the external activities of his senses at once stopped.
And he prayed transcendentally to the controller of all living beings while quitting his material body.
And he prayed transcendentally to the controller of all living beings while quitting his material body.
While quitting his material body.
Purport.
Purport. The material body is a gift of the material energy, technically called illusion. Identification with the material body is due to forgetfulness of our eternal relationship with the Lord. For a pure devotee of the Lord, like Bhishma Deva, this illusion was at once removed as soon as the Lord arrived. Lord Krishna is like the sun, and the illusory external material energy is like darkness. In the presence of the sun, there is no possibility that darkness can stand. Therefore, just on the arrival of Lord Krishna, all material contamination was completely removed, and Bhishma Deva was thus able to be transcendentally situated by stopping the activities of the impure senses in collaboration with matter. The soul is originally pure, and so also the senses. By material contamination, the senses assume the role of imperfection and impurity. By revival of contact with the Supreme Pure, Lord Krishna, the senses again become freed from material contaminations. Bhishma Deva attained all these transcendental conditions prior to his leaving the material body because of the Lord's presence. The Lord is the controller and benefactor of all living beings. That is the verdict of all Vedas. He is the supreme eternity and the living entity amongst all the eternal living beings. And he alone provides all the necessities for all kinds of living beings. Thus, he provided all facilities to fulfill the transcendental desires of his great devotee Bhishma Deva, who prayed as follows.
Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swamin Iti Namine Namo Acharya Padaya Nitaya Kripa Pradhayine Gaurakata Dhamadhaya Nagara Grama Tarine Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadhe Paschatya Desatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hariharaya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama Hare Gopala Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudanam Mukam Karodi Vachalam Pangun Langai Tegiri Merkirpata Mahamande Sri Gurum Dinatharinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Meshwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. So there is a very important purport here in this verse Prabhupada has given. The material body is a gift of the material energy, technically called illusion. So Prabhupada used to say that make best use of bad bargain. We have had a bad bargain to accept the illusioned body in exchange to our original Sad Chid Ananda Vigraha body. Isn't it a foolishness? Huh? This is the worst bargain one could ever have after destroying their intelligence that we have done. That we, in exchange to our Satchidananda Vigraha body, we have accepted this illusion energy created material body. And we had given up the wonderful, pure, unalloyed, loving, devotional service to the wonderful Lord Sri Krishna, the carrier of the chariot wheel, in exchange to the illusory sense gratification and false relationship management here. This is our problem. Identification with the material body happened because we exchanged our original identification with the false identification. This is called bad bargain. Now, what to do? Whatever happened, happened. Somehow or the other, we have fallen into this material existence of forgetfulness of our eternal relationship with Krishna. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is singing, so please pick me up and add me as a dust under your lotus feet, as a dust particle, Krishna. I don't want anything else. Na janam, na dhanam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye. Mama Janmani Janmaneshware Bhavatara Haitukitoi. Very important. It is not that, okay, I want to be eternally situated in your constitutional position and I want to enjoy the devotional service. No. He said, Mama Janmani Janmani. It's okay if I have to take several Janmas after Janmas. Okay. But please let me remain as a devotee in the association of devotee, get birth in the family of a devotee, and not entangled with this illusory energy. It is my mistake that I have accepted this material body in exchange to giving up the devotional service to you, my Lord. It's a blunder mistake that one could ever do. Knowingly taking poison, Jhaniya Vishaya Khainu. So Narottam Das Thakur said, knowing well we have taken the poison. This is our mistake. However, the Lord is so kind. Krishna is very kind that he is giving another chance here by sending the spiritual master. Who could let us hear this wonderful activities of Lord Sri Krishna? Now, Lord Sri Krishna is acting here, standing in front of Bhishma Dev. And as soon as Krishna, Jahan Krishna, Vahan Nahi Maya Radhikar. How did Bhishma Dev got relief from all the wound of the material wounds and the bodily pain, etc.? Because this body is created by Maya, the material energy, the illusion, and she is equal to darkness. Krishna is equal to sun. Where there is sun, there cannot be a darkness. So Krishna is standing in front of Bhishma Dev, just like he is standing in front of all of us also. But the difference is that Bhishma Dev in this verse is seen, he is looking at Krishna. As soon as one looks at Krishna, he cannot look at Maya anymore. So as soon as Bhishma Dev saw Krishna standing in front of him, immediately he got relieved from all kind of material concept of life. What to speak of then bodily pain? There is no bodily concept itself. Everything is finished. That is where the beauty of this is. When we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna is dancing on our tongue. But with proper consciousness, offenselessly, when we chant, we can see Krishna face to face in this very same body, in this very same life. At that moment, you will forget all. You will not forget. You will not have any bodily concept of life. Then what to speak of the miseries and sufferings and so-called temporariness, illusion, everything is finished. In front of Krishna, no illusory energy can act. Maya Antakar is immediately finished to zero. It is just like crossing the water, hold in the calf's hoof print. That easy it is as soon as you get Krishna. Such a huge Maya in which we are entangled Janma after Janma in 14 planetary system. Brahma Bhuvana Loka. And birth, death, old age, disease is all that we have got in 8,400,000 bodies, and we don't know any way to come out of it. And this such a huge thing is within no time finished. It doesn't even exist when you see Krishna. And when Krishna sees you, this is the beauty and this is the power of pure devotional service. Why did we do? In exchange to that wonderful devotional service, we accepted this material illusory body. That's our mistake. So let's make best use of this bad bargain by using this body in the service of Krishna. After all, thank God, this body is after all service of it's energy of Krishna. That somehow or the other, we have not disconnected from Krishna. We are separated, but part and parcel of Krishna. We will remain separated, part and parcel of Krishna, but we will not remain in this Vinna Prakriti Asrita. We will not remain in this totally disconnected from Krishna is Maya. Maya can never stand before Krishna. So if you are Krishna consciousness in your life, there is no Maya. And Bhishma Dev is a wonderful example. As soon as he saw Krishna and nothing else, when he knows Krishna and nobody else, at that moment, he is feeling no more wound, pain, material miseries or sufferings or anything. Now it doesn't make any difference for him that in which body he is. So complete illusion is removed by the Supreme Personality of God. As soon as the Lord arrived, the illusion is removed. That is why it is said Krishna Surya Sama, Maya Haya Antakara, Jahan Krishna Vaha Nahi, Maya Radhikar. In the presence of sun, there is no possibility of darkness to stand. So as soon as Krishna arrived and person, Bhishma Dev in conscious and looking at Krishna, all the material contamination was completely removed. It was just like dream. Now Bhishma Dev is not in any more dream. He is able to transcendentally situated. He was able to stop all kind of activities of the impure senses, which is the created by the illusory energy. So no more his senses are in contact with matter. All his senses are in contact with the senses of Krishna. Krishikena, Krishikesha Sevanam, Bhakti Ruchyate. So he is situated in the pure, unalloyed, loving, devotional service platform. So Prabhupada is telling originally soul is pure and so also the senses. But because we made this bad bargain, we had to accept this imperfect, impure senses, imperfect, impure body, which is temporary. However, we are fortunate enough if we got a spiritual master that we can still use this body by performing devotional service to develop our original body, which we have lost. So we can regain our spiritual consciousness, we can regain our spiritual body so that the devotional service can be rendered to Krishna. And the moment the senses become freed from the material contamination, that is like copra, the coconut copra. Coconut initially is very attached to the shell. And if you break the outer shell, the coconut also will be broken. And you have to, snatch away the coconut from the shell to use it. That is called contamination. That is called entanglement. So when the matured coconut called copra, when you break the outer shell, it doesn't affect the form of the coconut. It still holds its full form without breaking. That is called maturity. Maturity. So when we perform devotional service with this damaged body and practice, by practicing Krishna consciousness consistently under the bona fide spiritual master, we develop our own form inside this body. In fact, we have form. The body took the form of ours. Just like the shirt is taking the form when I'm wearing it. Otherwise, when I drop the shirt, it doesn't have any form. So as such, this body as a matter doesn't have any form. Because I have the form, the body has this form. So I have to develop my form completely transcendentally with the transcendental senses, and the senses be freed from this bodily contacted senses. I have to remove the senses from the body and engage in the service of Krishna. So that is called practicing Krishna consciousness. So by consistent practice of Krishna consciousness, automatically we will attain all the transcendental conditions prior to his leaving the material body, prior to leaving our material body, because we see Krishna face to face in this very same body, in this very same life. Because Krishna, he is very kind. He is very kind and he is the benediction giver for all the living entities. He is the supreme controller. All the Vedas says so. Vedaista sarvairaham eva vedyaha. In 15th chapter, 15th verse, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, he is the supreme eternity and he is the supreme living entity. So, he can provide whatever is the provider and protector, supreme provider and supreme protector of all living entities. So if you want to become Krishna consciousness, the facilities within the same body also provided by Lord Krishna. So in this way, he will also provide facilities in order to fulfill the transcendental devotees when we pray to Krishna. So this is a very beautiful verse. So we have time, we can go to the next verse. And Sarvap, you want to say anything or we'll go to the next verse?
We'll go to the next verse.
Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, verse 32. Sri Bhishma Uvacha.
Sri Bhishma
Sri Bhishma
Uvacha.
Uvacha.
Iti matir upakalpita vitrishna.
Iti matir upakalpita vitrishna.
Bhagavati satvata pungave vibhumni.
Bhagavati satvata pungave bhibhumi.
Swasukham upagate kvachid vihartum.
Swasukham
upagate kvachit vihartum.
Prakritim upeyushi yadbhava pravaha.
Prakritim upeyushi yadbhava pravaha.
Sri Bhishma Uvacha.
Sri
Bhishma Uvacha.
Iti matir upakalpita vitrishna.
Iti matir upakalpita vitrishna.
Kalpita Vrishna.
Bhagavati satvata pungave vibhumni.
Bhagavati satvata pungave bhibhumi.
Swasukham supagate kvachid vihartum.
Swasukham
Swasukam
upagate
Ubagate
kvachit
Kvachit
vihartum
Vihartum
Prakritim upeyushi yad bhava pravaha.
prakritim
Prakritim
upeyushi yat
Upayushi Yat
bhava
Bhava
pravaha.
Pravaha Sri Bhishma Vacha
Sri
Sri
Bhishma
Bhishma Uvacha
Uvacha.
Itimatir Upakalpita Vitrishna
Itimatir
Itimatirupakalpita
upakalpita
Krishna.
vitrishna
Bhagavati Satvata Pungave Vibhumi
Bhagavati
Bhagavati
satvata
Satvata
pungave
Pungave
bhimumni
Vibhumi.
Swasukam Ubagate Kvachit Vihartum
Swasukham
Vatsukam upagate
upagate
kvachit
kvachit
vihartum.
bihartum
Prakritim Upayushi Yat Bhava Pravaha
Prakritim
prakritim
upeyushi yad
upeyushiyat
bhava
bhava
pravaha.
pravaha.
Synonyms. Sri Bhishma Uvacha, Sri Bhishma Deva said.
Sri Bhishma
Sri Bhishma
Uvacha.
Vacha
Sri
Sri
Bhishma
Bhishma
Deva said,
Deva said
Eti, thus.
Iti das,
Iti thus
Mati, thinking, feeling, and willing.
Mati
Mati, thinking, feeling, and
and
willing.
feeling
Upakalpita, invested.
Upakalpita,
Upakalpita
invested.
invested
With Trishna, freed from all sense desires.
With Krishna, freed from all
freed
sense
from all
desire.
sense desires.
Bhagavati, unto the personality of Godhead.
Bhagavati, unto
Bhagavati
the
unto the
personality of
personality
Godhead.
of Godhead.
Satvata Pungave, unto the leader of the devotees.
Satvata
Satvata
Pungave
Pungave,
unto the
unto the
leader of
leader
the
of the devotees.
devotees.
Vibhumni, unto the great.
Vibhumni, unto the
Vibhumi
great.
unto the great.
Swasukham, self-satisfaction.
Swasukham, self-satisfaction.
Upagate, unto he who has attained it.
Upagate
Upagate, unto
unto
he who has attained it.
attained it.
Kvachit, sometimes.
Kvachit, sometimes.
Vihartum, out of transcendental pleasure.
Vihartam,
We
out
have
of
some out of
transcendental
transcendental pleasure.
pleasure.
Prakritim, in the material world.
Prakritim,
Prakritim
in the
in the
material
material
world.
world.
Upe, Yushi, do accept it.
Upayushi, do
Obey, you
accept it.
see, do accept it.
Yat Bhava, from whom the creation.
Yat
Yat
Bhava,
Bhava,
from
from
whom
whom the
the creation.
creation.
Pravaha is made and annihilated.
Pravaha is made and
and
annihilated.
annihilated.
Translation, please repeat after me. Bhishmadeva said,
Bhishma
Bhishmadeva
Deva
said,
said,
let me now invest my thinking, feeling, and willing,
let me
let
now
me now invest my
thinking, feeling,
thinking,
and willing.
feeling, and willing,
which were so long engaged in different subjects and occupational duties,
which were so long
So
engaged in
long
different
engaged,
subjects and
we said so
occupational
long
duties
in the all-powerful
engagement of
Lord
the
Sri
book of
Krishna.
occupation.
in the
The
all-powerful Lord Sri
all-powerful Lord
Krishna.
Sri Krishna.
He is always self-satisfied.
He
He is
is
always
always
satisfied,
self-satisfied.
But sometimes,
but
But
sometimes,
sometimes,
being the leader of the devotees,
being the leader
being
of the
the
devotees,
leader of the devotees,
he enjoys transcendental pleasure by descending to the material world.
he
he
enjoys
enjoys
transcendental
pleasure,
pleasure by
transcendental
descending to the
pleasure by
material world.
descending into the material world.
Although from him only the material world is created.
Although
Although
from
from
him
him only
the
the
material
material
world
world
was
is
created.
created.
Jai.
Purport.
Purport. Because Bhishmadeva was a statesman, the head of the Kuru dynasty, a great general, and a leader of Kshatriyas, his mind was strewn over so many subjects, and his thinking, feeling, and willing were engaged in different matters. Now, in order to achieve pure devotional service, he wanted to invest all powers of thinking, feeling, and willing entirely in the Supreme Being, Lord Krishna. He is described herein as the leader of the devotees and all-powerful. Although Lord Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, he himself descends to earth to bestow upon his pure devotees the boon of devotional service. He descends sometimes as Lord Krishna as he is, and sometimes as Lord Chaitanya. Both are leaders of the pure devotees. Pure devotees of the Lord have no desire other than the service of the Lord, and therefore they are called Sattvata. The Lord is the chief amongst such Sattvatas. Bhishma Deva therefore had no other desires. Unless one is purified from all sorts of material desires, the Lord does not become one's leader. Desires cannot be wiped out, but they have only to be purified. It is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 10.10 by the Lord himself that he gives his instruction from within the heart of a pure devotee who is constantly engaged in the service of the Lord. Such instruction is given not for any material purpose, but only for going back home, back to Godhead. For the ordinary man who wants to lord it over material nature, the Lord only sanctions and becomes a witness of activities, but he never gives the non-devotee instructions for going back to Godhead. That is the difference in dealings by the Lord with the different living beings, both the devotee and the non-devotee. He is the leader of all the living beings, as the king of the state rules both the prisoners and the free citizens. But his dealings are different in terms of devotee and non-devotee. Non-devotees never care to take any instruction from the Lord, and therefore the Lord is silent in their case. Although he witnesses all their activities and awards them the necessary results, good or bad, the devotees are above this material goodness and badness. They are progressive on the path of transcendence, and therefore they have no desire for anything material. The devotee also knows Sri Krishna as the original Narayana, because Lord Sri Krishna by his plenary portion appears as the Karanodakshai Vishnu, the original source of all material creation. The Lord also desires the association of his pure devotees, and for them only the Lord descends to the earth and enlivens them. The Lord appears out of his own will. He is not forced by the conditions of material nature. He is therefore described here as the Vibhu, or the Almighty, for he is never conditioned by the laws of material nature.
Hari Om Tat Sat. Again, there is a wonderful purport here given by Srila Prabhupada. So Bhishma Deva, he was having many designations. He was a statesman. He was head of the Kuru dynasty. He had responsibility to instill a proper king on the throne of Hastinapura to rule the world properly. He has taken the responsibility on his own. He was a great general, and he considered leader of all the Kshatriyas, both foes and friends. So in this way, for a very long years, he has been living here, where others have taken 1 or 2 janmas, but Bhishmadev was, staying on the same body for a long time. He had the free will of giving up his body. So he did not want to give up his body till he enthroned a qualified king on the Hastinapura kingdom. So he was maintaining himself in the body for a very long duration. And his thinking, feeling, willing, everything naturally is engaged in very different matters. And now he wants to obtain pure devotional service. This is the ultimate goal of life. The ultimate goal of life is not to be very great personality. The ultimate goal of life is the most humble person by accepting pure, unalloyed, loving devotional service to Krishna. And the secret of getting pure devotional service is revealed in the purport by Srila Prabhupada. How to do that? Through Bhishma. He has done practically. How did he do that? He has done by investing all powers of thinking, feeling, and willing. These are all the three things that the soul does. Thinking, feeling, and willing. So if this thinking, feeling, and willing entirely in the Supreme Being, Lord Sri Krishna, then you are sanctioned devotional service. Then you are sanctioned. Why? Because Krishna, he is the leader of all the devotees. He is all powerful. And he is the Sattvatam Pati. He is the protector of all the devotees. And he comes to this, descending to this material world. For what purpose? For the purpose of giving the pure devotional service. Give a chance to pure devotees, the boon of devotional service. So Krishna is descending for that. So he tells in Bhagavad Gita also that Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. So if you are trying to be engaged in the devotional service, then I will give you the intelligence accordingly. Prabhupada also used to say, you offer Patram Pushpam, Phalam Thoyam, at least a little water with a tulsi leaf, and request, pray to Krishna, hey, Krishna, please give me the intelligence to serve you nicely. That's all, the simple prayers. So he is also coming as Lord Chaitanya, sometimes a Lord Sri Krishna as he is originally, in order to provide that devotional service. So in both form, as Krishna or Chaitanya, he is the leader of the pure devotee. And pure devotee means that definition also given by Prabhupada in the purport here. The pure devotee is that person who has no any other desire other than servicing the Supreme Personality of Lord. Serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Anya vilasita sunyam jnana karma adi anavratam. So, when you apply your thinking, feeling, and willing unto Krishna's lotus feet and the service, then you are already anya vilasita sunyam, jnana, karma. Know where your interest is, know where you have invested your willing, feeling, and thinking. You have invested in the pure and alive loving devotional service. So that is called a Sattvata or pure devotee. And the Lord is Sattvatam Pati. He is the protector of all the pure devotee. Amongst the pure devotee, the Lord is the chief pure devotee as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come and demonstrated how a pure devotee of Krishna, of himself, will act, live, walk, all these things. Okay, what he will speak. Everything. Lord Chaitanya has spoken completely Krishna Katha. And he has sent his representative like Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada, who is also Param Bhagavata or Maha Bhagavata. So these Maha Bhagavatas, Paramahamsas, so they are also living by example and showing us how to live. Even in this particular time of Kali, we are not in the time of Bhishma Dev. We cannot meditate, but we can perform devotional service. We can chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra all the time. Always we can chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. In this way, we will never forget Krishna and always remember Krishna. Because when you chant Hare Krishna, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, it will purify the heart and all the material desire and the senses. Then the Lord will become your leader. Of course, the desires cannot be wiped out. We are not stones, Prabhupada used to say. We are not stones. Desires cannot be wiped out. But it can be purified by chanting the holy name of the Lord. And then he gives the Buddhi Yoga, which is Bhakti Yoga. He gives the intelligence to serve him very nicely. That is the beauty. So then the devotee will be engaged in the service of the Lord without cessation. Always. Kirtaniya sadaharihi nityam bhagavata sevaya. This nityam and sada. This means always. So this kind of instructions the Lord gives to go back home, back to Godhead and eternally engage in his devotional service without cessation. And for ordinary human being, he will not give this instruction. For example, the state law, Prabhupada is telling, the state law applies to both the prisoners as well as the citizens. But to citizens, it applies differently. To prisoners, it applies differently. That is the difference. Similarly, Krishna never gives the non-devotee the instruction for going back to Godhead, but he gives that particular Buddhi Yoga, Bhakti Yoga to devotees. And that is the reason he descends. So our Advaita Acharya is nobody but that Mahavishnu, who is the original Purusha, Karnodaka Sai Vishnu, from whom everything emanates. Everything emanates from that. And anything, non-devotee never care to take any instruction from the Lord. So the Lord will remain silent. But the devotee, they know Krishna as the Supreme Narayana. They know Karnodaka Sai Vishnu is Advaita Acharya, and he is the original source of all material creation. So the Lord also desires the association of his pure devotee, and the devotee also desires the association of pure devotee. This is the beauty of pure devotees. Pure devotees means even the Lord wants to associate. What to speak of other devotees and other Dhira, Adhira, Janapriya, Priya Karo. That is pure devotee's position. Who does not want to associate with pure devotee? Everybody wants. Asura or Sura, Dhira or Adhira, devotee or non-devotee. Even the Lord want to associate with pure devotee. So pure devotee's position cannot be conceived so easily. And only for those pure devotees, the Lord is coming down to the earth and he enlivens them. Sometimes he enters into them. Sometimes he empowers them. He favors them. And the pure devotee's job in the material world is nothing but claim the fallen and conditioned soul and purify their senses, engage them in the unalloyed loving devotional service to Lord Krishna. So all this happens. So Lord is not forced by the conditions of the material nature by us that he has to accept a body or he has to come down in a sequence of routines. No. So he is called Vibhu, the Almighty, because he cannot be conditioned by material nature. Rather, the material nature is created by him. So we need to understand from this perspective the wonderful position of a pure devotee for whom the Lord defends. Now Bhishma Deva is lying down here. He is about to give up his body. He is not feeling any more miseries or sufferings or even the pain of the arrow holes on his body. And he is feeling very healthy now. He is not fatigued anymore because he has seen the Lord, and the Maya is immediately faded away. In front of him, Krishna is standing. At the moment, he lost all the bodily concept and he engaged all his purified senses in the service of Krishna. This is the beauty. And Krishna comes here to award that devotional service to Bhishma Dev. Like that, Krishna will come to everybody who is chanting the holy name under the bona fide spiritual master in order to award them the pure, unalloyed, loving devotional service. As long as we have got this material body, pure devotional service, we can perform only with the soul, but not with the body. Body means contamination. Material body means contamination. Matter means contamination. And the contamination is 3 modes. So we have to Sangha Sanjayate Kama. The more you are associated with any of this mode, goodness, passion, or ignorance, you remain contaminated. Transcendental means above these 3 modes. So pure devotional service is done on the transcendental platform. And Krishna comes when you are aspiring, when you are trying, when you are making an attempt. Why do we call ourselves practitioner? Krishna conscious practitioner. Because we have got this contaminated sense. And with this, we are trying to serve Krishna. So Krishna is saying, wow, this person with unqualified senses trying to serve me. So why should I give him unqualified senses? Let me purify his senses. Cheto darpanamarchanam. Immediately, Krishna is favoring. He cleanses our senses. The moment Krishna cleanses the senses, immediately we don't feel any more pain or pleasure on the body. We don't have any more bodily concept of life. It doesn't matter for us whether we are in this body or that body. It doesn't matter we are in Vaikuntha or Naragaloka or Swargaloka or Goloka Vrindavana. All that matters is we always see Krishna, we are engaged in his service, and we are in the association of pure devotees. The hankering to be associated with the pure devotees arises in the heart to the great extent, as much as it arises to the Lord Krishna also. So this is the beauty of devotional service. Thank you very much. Santagopi, you want to tell anything?
Yes. So, Hare Krishna, Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaturvanmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha.
Just 2 or 3 lines. I just would like to add up. The previous verse was also the previous verse. Like now, Bhishma Dev is speaking, but if you see till the previous verse, it was spoken by Suta Goswami to the Naimisharanya Rishis. So he just briefly explained what exactly is taught by Bhishma Dev to Yudhishthira. So Yudhishthira is going to be the further king who is going to rule. So he is supposed to know the methodology of ruling. So even though he gave this instructions to Yudhishthira, Bhagavatam never explains it in detail. This is what is Amala Purana means. Like Prabhu was telling, like during the time of death or otherwise also, we should not be involved in the 3 modes of material nature. But when we see the occupational duties, they belong to the occupational duties or duties of the body. Either as Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Vanaprastha, Grahastha, Sannyasa, all these Varna and Ashrama, they are bodily designations. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he asked us, Kiba Vipra, Kiba Nyasi Shudra Kenanaya, Jai Krishna Tattva Hoi, O Guru Hoya. Whoever knows Krishna Tattva properly, they are the Guru. And other than that, actually, we are actually spirit soul. Identifying oneself with the body is one which has to be given. That is actually the first instruction given by Krishna to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, there is a first lesson which Arjuna is getting from Krishna. So here, if you see the previous verse, by pure meditation looking at Lord Krishna, he at once was freed from all material inauspiciousness. So material inauspiciousness. But anything, darshan of Krishna is one devotional service. Similarly, any service, if you're touching the holy name, then that is service. Any devotional service is in connection with Krishna. That is why it's called yoga. So bhakti is called also yoga because we are in touch with Krishna. So there are 64 angas of bhakti, but before even that, when you start, anybody starts any devotional service, pure devotional service. What does pure devotional service mean? Already we discussed. Pure means as it is. Any object which said is be pure because there is no mixture. So without mixing, just the devotional service, kevala bhakti, just the bhakti, just the devotion. When we do that, then what happens? The first thing which happens is all the inauspicious is gone and all the auspiciousness comes. Kleshagni Subhada. So here, immediately all his material inauspiciousness is gone. He was relieved by bodily pains caused by the wounds, simply by seeing Krishna. So, wherever there, as Prabhu mentioned very nicely, Krishna Surya Sama, Maya Haya Antakar, Jahan Krishna, Mahanai, Maya Ladikar. Because the material body, material law of nature will act when we are not in touch with Krishna. But when we are in touch with Krishna, then the material energy doesn't act because she doesn't stay where Lord is. Thus, the external activities of his senses at once stopped. And he prayed transcendently to the Janardana. What does Janardana mean? Janardana, controller of all living beings. So here it is mentioned like pure devotee like Bhishma Deva. So what pure devotee? So what does pure devotion means? How can I become a pure devotee? Of course, Bhishma Deva is great, he is great, who is great. We are reading about so many Bhagavatas, but they are called Mahajana, and we are supposed to follow in the footsteps of Mahajana. Then how will I follow? How can I become a pure devotee? What is the definition? How to scientifically become a pure devotee? Very simple. Read Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Nectar of devotion. Here, pure devotion is described as Anyabhilashita Sanyam. No other desire, no jnana and karma, jnana yoga, karma yoga. People mix these things. Oh, a devotee means you should wear sari, you should wear dhoti. Even though that is part of the culture, but it is not depending what does the devotion may arise in the deathbed also, right? Anywhere, any situation, animals also like Garuda Deva Hanuman. Garuda Deva was also a devotee. And sometimes you see Gajendra was performing devotional service by offering flower to the Lord at the time of death. He was in the verge of death. So what do you say about? So which body we belong doesn't matter. So we recently read, like when somebody was asking Guru Maharaj in Malaysia, that can we offer blood or organs to some non-devotee? Is it okay for a devotee to accept organs or donate? Then Guru Maharaj said, why not? Why not? Then Guru Maharaj explained about his situation, that somebody gave him the liver. Some couple died, and in one of them, one liver was given him like this. And he said that why not? We are not the body, Krishna is explaining. And when we die and people donate the organs, like after I die, then let my organ go to somebody, like if anybody requires. So let it go. So Prabhu Guru Maharaj said, when somebody is dying, anyway, the body is useless. Anyway, so why not? If it is used by somebody, why not? Like this. So illusion, like is that very seriously identifying ourselves with kula, kotra, body, karma, activities, and this and that, and so much. All this is very complicated. But only single instruction of Krishna can relieve us from this. You are not the body, a spirit, soul. And Guru also is telling, always remember that you are not the body. It is the direct instruction of Guru. That Guru Maharaj always regularly says that always remember that you are not the body. Earlier and all, when he used to come for Rath Yatra, in Chennai Rath Yatra also, he said once, always remember that you are not the body. And casually in room conversations, he says that always remember, you are not this body. So when somebody identifies themselves with Kula, Kotra, and like for example, Bhishma Dev, he was doing all his occupational duties, but we can see how he's a Mahajana, that he has remained a pure devotee, despite he was very nicely engaging, because in no time he was able to come out of his occupational ideas, which he was doing. In fact, any sees Bhishma Deva will see him as a person who was very voluntarily has taken up. No, he has not voluntarily taken up. On the order of his father, he has taken up the duties. It is not that he voluntarily. What is projected in the movies and this thing, we should not believe. We should read the scriptures. And Bhishma Dev from the very beginning has been explained in Bhagavatam as a pure devotee only. And he's also mentioned as a descended soul. And he's giving pleasure to Krishna by his chivalry. So he's a personal associate of Krishna. So he's not into any bewilderment and he's not making any decisions on his own. He's the son of Ganga. He's not an ordinary person, and he has been brought up by Ganga. He has been brought up by Ganga Devi. What do you think is a Mahajana? The Mahajana names you see, then you will understand that how great they are. So here Bhishma Dev was in no time he was able to just come out, because he was not doing on his own accord. There is Vyasadeva was guiding the kingdom, and also his father has given him instruction. Accordingly, he was doing, and now he was hankering for a qualified person to take up the ruling, because the citizens has to be guided for self-realization, God realization. This is a duty of the king. So Bhishma Deva is his great devotee. Krishna's great devotee means Krishna's great devotee. We should understand, and also in the starting is mentioned as a pure devotee. So Prabhupada is mentioning as a pure devotee, Bhishma Deva is a pure devotee, is not into illusion. So within the relationship with the Lord, identification with the Lord, for a pure devotee of the Lord like Bhishma Deva, this illusion was at once removed by the Lord. Because he came for the service of the Lord. Like Draupadi, she came for the service of the Lord. Same way Bhishma Dev also came for the service of the Lord. Otherwise, how can Ganga Devi have a son? Why should Ganga Devi come and get married and have children? She's a pure devotee. She's flowing from the lotus feet of the Lord. Her water is always fragrant of the tulasi flowers, which has washed the lotus feet of the Lord. So here in Bhishma Deva is saying that let my mind be engaged. Where actually mind was engaged in so long in different subject of the occupational duties. Of course, he was seen as a very expert diplomat, but at the same time, based on the scriptures, dharma. He never deviated from the dharma like Yudhishthira. At the same time, he was engaged still in the subject of occupational duties. But in no time, very easily, he is praying to the Lord, because already he was relieved from all the sufferings. So in the Janardana, Krishna, let my senses be engaged. So here, unless one is purified from all sorts of material desires, Anyabhilashita sunyam, jnana karmadi anavrutam, anukulyena Krishna anusilanam, bhaktiruttama bhaktiruchyate. So here, what does that mean? Lord will not be in connection with somebody who's not a pure devotee. Very simple. Very simple. There are many devotees. You see, when without the Acharya Parampara, without initiation, if you go to Vrindavan and all, you will see some people from Delhi, they are coming, la, 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 la. Every weekend they will come and they will have a Gopal in their hand. But if you see, they'll have so many material desires to multiply their money in order to increase their khandan, their family heritage. They are very rich people. They are coming there. They are rich or not, doesn't matter, but they always think of richness. They always think of richness. Their consciousness is absorbed, especially Western side. They always think of money multiplication. And very intelligent, they think they are very intelligent. They think like that. The most intelligent Sumedha Shah is establishing a connection with the Lord. So-called intelligent only we can call them. So unless one is purified from all sorts of material desire, the Lord does not become one's leader. If we want Lord to be our leader, we should be away from all material desire. Desires cannot be wiped out because they have, desire cannot be wiped out, but they have only to be purified. So what is the desire? Vancha kalpatarubhyasta kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. So we are saying Vaishnavas will fulfill all the desires. Then how do you say that there are desires should not be there? In Bhagavad Gita, there is a sloka which says that, and an analogy is given. There is that all the Krishna is telling to Arjuna, rivers are flowing towards the ocean and joining. Similarly, all the desires should be flowing towards one goal. So sometimes jnanis, they have a question, why devotees are having desire? Vancha kalpataru, why are they telling Vaishnava can fulfill all the desire? Because spiritually, what is the qualification Rupa Goswami is mentioning? That laulyam, greediness. I am greedy to serve Guru Maharaj, I am greedy to take more service, I am greedy, not sacrifice mentality. I will sacrifice. No, not sacrifice, but greedy. Greedy for prasadam, greedy for dancing, greedy for singing, greedy for darshan, greedy for reading more and more, greedy for knowing about Krishna more and more, greedy for being attached to Guru Maharaj, greedy to see him, greedy to feed him, greedy to so much greed of Krishna consciousness. This is the qualification. So many spiritual desires. All our spiritual desires will be fulfilled if by the Vaishnava. Moraye abhilash vilas kunchedi ovas. I have desire. I go and pray to Tulsi every day. Moraye abhilash. I have desire. How many desires? All the desires which we are having it should not be wiped out, but they have to only be purified. How it is getting purified? When the desire is directed towards serving Krishna. So as soon as we come to know that we cannot have material desire or personal sense gratification desire, immediately we stop the activities for Krishna. This is also another shadow of enviousness. Material world, you see, everybody have lust, greed, envy, anger. Lust is always there. Lust has been there. But as soon as we said that you cannot be you cannot have illicit sex, immediately one stops the entire sexual desire. Why? Why not offer to Krishna? Why not offer to Krishna instead of withdrawing? When you are a material person, when you are a self-gratifier, you are able to ready to use, ready to utilize everything. But as soon as you're told that, no, you're not the body, or you're told that the illicit activities are bad, then authorized activities. So desire cannot be wiped out. It'll be like a volcano. Someday it'll come out. Like Durvasana. No, Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra was controlling all his senses. And he was controlling all the desires. And one day all the desires will come out. So here very clearly Prabhupada says, desire cannot be wiped out, but they have only to be purified. So how do we purify? Because it is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita by the Lord himself that he gives the instruction from within the heart of a pure devotee who is constantly engaged in the service of the Lord. So pure devotee will instruct us how to engage our desires, how to purify our desires, so that eternally will be out of the desire. Eternally, he tries to save us eternally. Guru doesn't give an instruction which is temporary and simply like that. He will tell like that only, he is giving me this, that, an indirect instruction. No, as it is. As it is. Because always Guru is the well-wisher. So the pure devotee is given an instruction. That is why he is Guru. So here, very, very nicely, sometimes people may misunderstand. Such instructions is given not for any material purpose, but only for going back home, back to Godhead. For the ordinary man who wants to lord over the material nature, the Lord only sanctions and becomes a witness of activities, but he never gives the non-devotee instruction to going back home, back to Godhead. That is the difference between dealing by the Lord with different living beings. So how Lord is dealing with non-devotee and devotee, both the devotee and non-devotee. How nicely Prabhupada is writing. For example, I want to eat. I like eating a lot. So I very nicely go and eat all kinds of stuff. But as soon as I hear I can eat only prasadam, then I desire, no, I won't eat prasadam, I won't eat a lot of chili, I won't eat this, I won't eat oil, this, that. And suddenly we become very morose. Instead, we should offer all that is, only meat eating is restricted. Other things can be offered very nicely, onion, garlic, meat. Other than that, we can offer everything very nicely and eat. Then suddenly diet will come. Not like that. So in Krishna consciousness, we are actually controlling the senses by engaging the senses, not withdrawing the senses. Not withdrawing the senses, but engaging the senses is the control. By the order of the spiritual master, we are engaging the senses. Very, very important to understand to come out of Mishra Bhakti. Mishra Bhakti means mixing yoga. Maybe Ashtanga Siddhi Yoga, all those things talks about withdrawing the senses. Jnana Yoga, this talks about withdrawing the senses. But Bhakti Yoga teaches us to engage the senses. Karma Yoga teaches us to engage the senses, but to yield the fruitive result immediately. So we will engage the senses. It will look like a Karma Yoga, but it is not Karma Yoga because we are getting liberated by each of the activities, whereas Karma Yogi, each of the activities is binding him. Even with the demigods is binding him. So that is the difference. Jnani and Yogi will withdraw the senses and they will never use the senses. Karmi will use the senses for his own sense gratification. Karma Yoga will use the senses for fruitive results, whereas a Bhakti Yoga will perform all the activities like a Karma Yogi only, but all are done to please Krishna only by the order of the spiritual master. So sometimes the spiritual master will order you to do some things which looks like a material activity, but it is not a material activity. It is to save you eternally. But an intelligent person will understand this. So here, we are very clearly, Prabhupada is mentioning, he never gives the non-devotee instructions for going back home. So sometimes the instruction will look like material, but when Guru gives or Krishna gives, but it is not. Like Arjuna was asked to fight. Why everybody was fighting? Yudhishthira was fighting, Bhima was fighting, Bhishma was fighting, Duryodhana was fighting, Dronacharya was fighting. But all those fightings are different from the fighting of Arjuna and Bhishma. Both Arjuna and Bhishma fought for the pleasure of Krishna. So the fighting activity will look like a karmic activity and we will fear entanglement. That is what Arjuna feared. Arjuna feared entanglement. Arjuna feared giving suffering, and Yudhishthira Maharaj is still suffering with this, with his guilt. Because there is no transcendental knowledge. So when we associate with Guru, he will teach us to expertly live in this material world, at the same time not get entangled, but at the same time offer everything to Krishna in the pleasure of Krishna, for the pleasure of Krishna. This is the speciality of a pure devotee guiding spiritual master, Guru, Acharya. This is Acharya. So how can the Acharya know all those things? It is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 10:10 by Lord himself, that he gives his instruction from within the heart of the pure devotee, who is constantly engaged in the service of the Lord. When we follow a pure devotee, we also become a pure devotee. So even in some situations, Lord is teaching us how to actually act in that particular situation. That is Matta Smritir Jnanam Apohanam Cha. So that is what is 10.10. Matta Smritir Jnanam Apohanam Cha. Remembrance, forgetfulness, everything, intelligence, everything is coming from me. This instruction is not given for any material purpose. Let us see this. What is that? Tesham satata yuktanam bhajadam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena ma upayanti te. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So they have to constantly devote in serving the Lord. So this is very, very essential, that to understand that Bhishma Deva is a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord, as mentioned again and again by Srila Prabhupada. And also we see that how Krishna purposely goes in order to give us darshan, because there is a loving exchange happening between the pure devotee. So non-devotee cannot never take any instruction from the Lord, and therefore the Lord is silent in their case, although he witnesses all their activities and award them necessary results, good and bad, because they don't take that any instructions. So why Lord has to speak? He is silent. The devotee also knows Krishna as original Narayana, because okay. So here, very, very important. So Krishna is called Vibhu, or the Almighty, for he is never conditioned by the any material law. The Lord appears on his own free will. So now Lord came in front of the law, in front of Bhishma Deva by his own free will. People are searching. So here Prabhupada says that don't try to see Krishna. Act in such a way that Krishna sees you. So Bhishma acted in such a way that Krishna voluntarily came and stood in front of him when he was leaving the body, purposely. Without the free will of Krishna, Krishna will not do anything. So the Lord also desires, here Prabhupada is mentioning, Lord also desires the association of the pure devotee. For them, only the Lord descends to the earth to enliven them. With faith they are acting. So in order to enliven them, the Lord descends to the earth. So this is a very, very wonderful purport. And Bhishma is about to leave the body, and how nicely perfection of life is achieved. So this is the speciality of remaining in devotional service, pure, unalloyed, loving devotional service. Thank you very much, Hari.
Anybody has any questions, comments, or realization, please share with us.
Hare Krishna, sir.
Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
I just have to tell one thing, like what ma'am said, that we say that like Krishna conscious, many think that it is like controlling the senses. Senses, like it cannot be controlled. We just have to engage it in the proper direction, like in the devotional service. And we don't have to like, we can't control the senses actually. Krishna is said to be Rishikesha. He is the master of the senses. And we have to just think like, how can we engage our senses in such a way that we can perform devotional service, rather than utilizing in gratifying our own senses. We have to use it for gratifying the senses of the Supreme Lord. And the spiritual master, pure devotees will tell us how to do that.
So this is I wanted to share.
Super, super. Very wonderful. In these words, Krishna is also called Tattvakam. He is the controller of the devotees. So controller of the devotees means controller of the senses of the devotees. And he's also said that Krishna is giving the intelligence to engage in the devotional service. He is coming and providing the devotional service to the devotee. So that is why he is descending. So which means he is controlling the senses. When he controls the senses of the devotees, at that time, the controlling is actually regulated. Regulated means engaged. Engaged means engaged in the devotional service to Krishna. For that, the knowledge also given by Krishna. Very, very perfectly understood. Thank you very much. 5, 4.
Yeah, I want to add one thing. We may not be pure devotees, but a pure devotee is revealed of what is the desire of the Lord. So under pure devotee we are doing, then we are doing pure devotional service.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol, Saurav Prabhu, tell me.
So I just want to share one realization regarding this. So I went to Tirupati to meet like Guru Maharaj, and that was very nice moment for me serving Guru Maharaj. And that was the day before yesterday. And yesterday I went to some office party, so in Taj West End in Bangalore. So there was nice reception. Everything was nice, but I was not enjoying all those moments. Rather, I was happy washing Guru Maharaj's clothes and being with Guru Maharaj. So that was the difference which I could see currently. Like it was a very nice moment when I was there in Tirupati with Guru Maharaj, listening his lectures in front of him, and then serving Guru Maharaj, taking prasadam. It was very nice. But here it was having good reception, but still I was missing something, missing some link. Like I was not able to grasp everything in that scenario. So yes, so that was my relation saying this regarding this.
Very, very nice realization. This is a symptom of senses getting purified. When you give a higher taste to the senses, it will not hanker behind the cheap taste, which may seem to be highest in the material world. Very nice. Wonderful, wonderful practical realization. About senses, this kind of realizations are very rare to occur to the devotees. This kind of realization comes only by the special mercy of Guru. Otherwise, it is very, very hard to get such realization. Thank you very much. You are very fortunate. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Thank you very much for the association. We will once again meet tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock for the congregation chanting of the holy name, followed by Srimad Bhagavatam class. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Patita Pavan Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Patita Pavan Srila Guru Maharaj ki jai. Bhagavat Satsang ki jai. Patita Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Srila Guru Maharaj ki jai.